Hey guys, Mike here. So, oh boy, what an interesting end to the week on Friday. A huge reversal. I think it was like 10:30, if I'm not mistaken. And so you ended up with a lot of bearish engulfing candles for the day. I'm talking about when I show you the IWM chart, you'll see that major reversal that took place. Nvidia is a big one we'll get into. And so we'll go over some stock charts, a lot of economic data that's going to matter, a lot of inflation data coming out this week. And so that's obviously going to create more volatility. And what was it, beginning of March, which we're only like, what are we, a weekend? I said, it's going to be a volatile month. And boy, have you seen some swings. I feel like we're back in like maybe in July, August, October, November of 2022 already again, right? With these crazy intraday swings we're seeing and everything. And you also saw one of the biggest tech outflows last week as well, but that makes sense when I show you what I'm going to show you here. But when you look, we did get our latest AAII members emotions, as I like to call them, direction. And you can see like a lot more bullishness. This thing's increased from 42 to 51 from February 14th to March 6th. The bears keep disappearing for sure. No doubt about that. And, when you move over, the reason why, because a lot of people, we just pay attention to tech, right? And sure, you saw, again, all-time new highs being set on AMD, Meta, MU, Taiwan Semiconductors. The semis have just been absolutely insane. But it's been others as well. You had over 25 large cap industrial stocks right here hitting either new 52-week highs or just keeps continuing to set all-time new highs. And so it's not just tech by a mile. And you can see this in the small caps and everything else. And even when you look at the top 10 performers of the NASDAQ 100 for 2024, I didn't even know what CEG was. I had to look that up. That's the second best performer, by the way. A lot of these you're going to recognize. I would never guess Marvel either, by the way. It was the fifth, but it is. And so a lot of these you'll recognize. You may not recognize LRCX, but you can go look those up. It gives you an idea. But I'm not surprised with CrowdStrike and all the semiconductors at all. But one thing you did see was obviously one of the biggest, the biggest tech outflow we've seen on a weekly moving average here. As of this goes back to 2017, and so you can see obviously huge inflows upside, and then on the downside, a huge outflow. And of course, that money is probably just rotating to something else. That's not going to be a surprise. And of course, why are you seeing this? Because look at these moves on Nvidia itself. In 4 trading days plus an hour, it moved 18%. This is one of the largest market cap stocks in the world, and it moved 18% in 4 days and 1 hour. Okay, look at AMD. You got the same thing, not quite as much, but still for AMD, 12% in a week. That's a lot for AMD. And then you just look at Taiwan Semiconductors. Look at this one. This is not even a huge mover, right? A high flyer, 18% in a week. Look at the volume. That's the largest weekly volume bar I could find going back all the way, actually, to the Great Financial Crisis when I pulled this up. And it looks like, maybe there's a bar I'm missing in there, a volume bar, but just a boatload of volume. And this was finally getting love, which I thought it deserved many, many, many months ago, because a lot of these companies contract with Taiwan Semiconductors for them to actually make these chips for them. And so it's finally getting its due, I guess you could say. But again, huge move up for it. And just understand, so these moves are so big that, if you got in the market after 2020, please hit that thumbs up because it helps people find this video. And if you like financial content where somebody does not try to make themselves seem smarter than they are and talk over your head, please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. All right, moving on. Then these kind of moves seem normal to you. If you were in the market after 08, you know that, like Microsoft, for example, on a yearly basis, which has had a lot of growth over the years after 2010, on average, 25, 30, 35% a year. For the whole year, the stock moved, right? And you thought that was great. Like, that was really good. That's a good return, okay? It's moved from 40 to over 200 before 2020, right? So that was a great return to 5 extra money in 10 years. But now, as you can see, with what these semiconductor stocks are doing, Meta, all these others, it's just a different deal. And if you ever pull out on a weekly chart and compare 2020 to 2024 and then go back from 2010 to 2020 and then go back from the dot-com to 08, we look like we're back from the dot-com to 08, where it was like this, massive move down, massive move up, massive move down. We've done the massive move up and then down and up, but what's next, we don't know, right? And maybe because of the options market, that's what's causing all this and some other things, but the quant funds and everything else. And so I guess it's just maybe it's going to be like that from here on out. We just got these crazy, extreme volatile moves, and that nice, smooth 10 years moving up Maybe that's not going to be the case for a while. That's what we'll have to see. And if you're just getting after 2020, you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you look at the chart, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Now, looking at this week, we look at a lot of stocks, and there's definitely some canary in the coal mines here, okay? And when you look at IWM, for example, I mean, look at this move. This is what I'm talking about. An intraday move down of over 2% at 10:30. All right, that is a massive move. That's one day, okay? That was that. But when you look, I mean, simply, this is still in an uptrend. I don't care where you draw your trend lines, don't matter. So far, this is still an uptrend. There is not some trend reversal right now. It could happen, obviously, so let's go ahead and keep that in mind, because this is another one. It's had a big move, got up that 210, thought we were going to break out. Absolutely not, right? It's been a long time since it's been over that level right there. And when you look at this one, remember, this is obviously way behind, but this is in that stage 2, okay? You get that stage 4, the crash, stage 1 is the consolidation. In stage 2, here we go, right? And we'll look at a sector of stocks, which this is still happening. They're still kind of in stage 1, trying to break out stage 2. But when you pull up IWM, because it will consolidate for a long time, and then finally break out, you can see it right there as well. When it comes up, then we get the crash down, then it consolidates, and then finally we break out over the 30-week moving average on the weekly, and we get to stage 2, which is where you have some big gains, okay? And so, looking at the stocks that I think, to me, like 3 of them for sure to watch is going to be NVIDIA, obviously. Huge engulfing candle right there on the daily. But looking at this one, remember, it still is NVIDIA. Are they still going to push us to 1,000? I think everybody believes that for sure. But definitely watch between like 834 to 852, somewhere in there, to where they think if this weakness does continue, if we don't gap up on money and continue to go with this crazy call sweeps or whatever, that will be good levels to watch. Again, it's only 4.5% down, which is nothing. And then I think a lot of people, what they think is they're going to try to push it back up, get over 1,000, either announce a stock split or something, maybe on March 18th. I believe they got some kind of event going, maybe, or whatever, and then start finally getting some pullback on it. So we'll see. Let me know what your prediction is on that one. But again, when you look at this one, that would make sense in a way, because from the earnings move up, that would put it right around that 50 Fibonacci level. So any 50% retracement, people usually buy that up like crazy. I know people that already did buying. So let me know what you think in the comments on that one. Apple's another one. This one was green. When all these others were bloodbath red, this one was green. Why? Talked about the RSI. The most oversold it's been in a long, like 6 years. Okay. And so that's what you saw, was an oversold bounce. It is at a level, as you can see right there from the volume profile, it needs to get above right there, around that, 170.73, I believe, is where it needs to get above and hold and start moving back up. If it falls down, you can see it sitting in that volume gap right there. So that could be a nice little drop down, anywhere from the 150s to 160s, honestly. If it starts to fall down, we really do start to see just a short-term type of trend reversal and stuff in the overall market, then it could happen. But again, if Apple starts to move back up, NVIDIA starts to move back up, and they're just going to start pulling all the other stocks up with them. There's almost no doubt about it. And so, watch that one. The fact it was green, but that was an oversold bounce for sure. Whether or not it turns out to be something else, let's get above the 173 area to find out. The other one was CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike had a 25% move up on earnings. To me, I mean, when I read everything, this is like the #1 pick for cybersecurity, right? Which has been on fire. And this thing just sold back down like crazy, right? Sold back down off the earnings, then came down, consolidated, then, we're going to move back up. No, we're not, right? On Friday, came back down. So it's just kind of in this area. And so since earnings, because it had such a big move up, it's still up 7%. Not bad, but that was just a big, huge sell-off. And, of course, it drug all the other semiconductors down. I mean, not semiconductors, but cybersecurity down with it, like Palo Alto and a bunch of others right there. And you can see, I mean, forever, this is another one that's had this bearish divergence on the RSI, which has just meant nothing right now. Look at that move. And so this is another one they overextended. Of course they're overextended. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, right? And so we'll see if this one's going to continue to try to push down or not, and maybe even just consolidate. Like in that range right there, that will be healthy for the stock. Like when it has these big moves up, you look at the chart, like any other chart, it'll consolidate sideways, stay in like a 10% range, and then move up. So we'll see if that happens. But that's the 3 really to watch this week. And then, of course, Tesla. This one I'll cover just because, it definitely take a beating for sure, but it started holding that 175 area. You started to see bullish divergence on the RSI, on the daily right there. MACD's trying to move back up to get across that 0 line. Again, If that doesn't hold, then you're looking anywhere from 152 to 162 is a range where people are picking. That just has to be those levels we bounced at before. And I'll mark those on the chart right here and right here, as you can see. And so again, all that move is for nothing. If it can't get above, 180, 183 right there, which you can see on the volume profile right there, then it's just going to keep, basically selling down right now. And one thing that's hurting Tesla is the fact that, unlike a lot of stocks that are getting price upgrades, things of that nature, the buy ratings on this stock is the lowest it's been in 3 years. And you can see it's been trailing down from like the end of 22 to all the way now. So as this stock showed a lot of weakness and been selling down, there's been less and less buy ratings. So watch and pay attention to see if it starts to get some buy ratings now back in this lower price. And it's like, for example, you see in Palantir, right? I showed you one last week. Here's another one from Wedbush. They tried pushing it up, and it started out green like everything else, but then sold off. But this is what happens when a stock starts to show strength, starts to break out. This is when they start piling in, right? And so if Tesla can break above, right, and start heading back up, you'll start to see those price upgrades come in. Watch. And so same thing you got with Palantir here. So, this one broke through the level of 27. Again, just watching 29 for the next one. If that's the case, if we don't get some kind of short-term trend reversal in the market, this one most likely will continue to head up, because you saw a lot of high beta stuff moving up on Friday before that reversal took place. And a lot of them were actually green even after the reversal took place, which I found very interesting, by the way. Rivian was one of them, right? I told you about this the other day. And so it got up in this gap. Again, it had been getting some price upgrade after hitting down here and breaking through here and starting to go back into that earnings gap right there that it had. This is the RTH gap. And so it was doing really well before the market actually started to turn over. And of course, this one's, as everything else, you start to get more positive news. They're basically coming out with 3 new kind of models and stuff, priced at $45,000. Even they're losing a boatload on their vehicles. That doesn't matter. Again, it's all about the technicals and what level it got to. And here comes the price upgrades, and here comes news and everything else, right? And so let's see if that one continues to move up into that gap. And the last one here, you're looking at BABA, right? People, we thought, hey, inverse head and shoulders. To me, this is not an inverse head and shoulders anymore. It's a hot mess of what it is. But really, when you look at it, it's more like a range to me. Like just sitting here in this range. You had one false breakdown right there. But again, it's just sitting there in that range. It's at the bottom of it now. So can it move back up here to around 78? Still hadn't got that trend line, by the way. Still holding this level right here, which you can see on the volume profile. And then when you look at the MACD, finally got it above 0. Again, not a ton of momentum like you see to the left. Trying to get the RSI above 50. One thing that is happening and holding it up, as you can see, it finally had its 3rd quarter of institutional buying, right? And a lot of this is, I'll show you actually a few of these, but a lot of these are going to be pension funds and stuff. Things that are looking really long term, trying to find stuff and rotating stuff that's really beat down and might have some future growth to it and stuff versus being overpriced. And you can see right here, here's a few of them. The Canadian Pension Plan Investment, which they bought 3.6 million shares in the 4th quarter. Soros Fund Management, they bought in Q4. Appaloosa, they bought in Q4. Scion Asset Management LLC further increases holding in Alibaba in Q4. And so that is what's happening with Bob right now. And a lot of the Chinese stocks, I think, honestly. And then the sector to watch next week as well is going to be this right here, because, again, this was Friday, and a lot of them were still green even when the market rolled over. And this is that high beta stuff, but you're looking at those fintech companies, and this is just a sector that can't get out of its own way. Every time you think you get momentum, it just keeps selling off. A lot of them are still just sitting, trying to break into that stage 2. When you pull up Square, I know one of you guys asked about this one. Again, it's trying to go into stage 2. We finally broke above that trend line, but again, it's just been setting. I mean, that's consolidation since May of 2022. So again, if it can finally break out of here, some people think it's a stage 2 now. I still say it's stage 1 until we get farther up, but whatever you want to look at and however you like it. But, this is just another one of those ones like all the rest of them. How many times have we thought PayPal or SoFi or any of those, this is it, they're going to the moon, and they sell right back down, right? So this has been a really, really tough sector. If it can get above that level right here, 82.79, obviously then there's no doubt, yeah, you'll go back up here. This 89.58 level, that's in play. The one thing Square has not done, I still don't believe, is attach itself back to Bitcoin. I know they'll hold a lot of it. Again, the chart used to look like Bitcoin if you pulled them up together. That has not been the case, which is why it sold off so massively. Maybe one day it'll attach itself back to that. Now, when it comes to earnings, a lot of high beta stuff coming on here, a lot of small caps, still got the retailers going on. But again, some names you've heard of, like Oracle, it's going to report on Monday. Nothing else super major. ADM, that's not AMD, that's ADM, so don't get confused on that one. Kohl's, even Workhorse. My guy's like a penny stock now, but it's still reporting. So that one's still in business somehow. I don't know how. Clover's another one, was a whole popular, like I think a high meme type stock or whatever. Then you come over, you got Dollar Tree right here, Petco. Zim, I think, was that freighter company or something. They used to have a crazy dividend, which I don't think they have a dividend anymore. Then you come over to UiPath, Sentinel One, Lennar, the home builder right there, as you can see. You come over to Thursday, Dollar General, which had a huge move so far. Dick's Sporting Goods right there. You don't have, what else we got here? Canadian Solar, that's another high flyer, I believe. Then on the afternoon, you have Adobe, Blink, Ulta Beauty. I mean, these beauty companies have bbeen going crazy. PagerDuty. And then on Friday, Jabil, and I don't really see anything else going on there. But when it comes to economic data, Monday, there shouldn't be anything that's going to affect the market, really. And that's why it's going to be interesting to see if it stays red, because usually we have some kind of data that'll come out and affect it. But I don't really see that happening right now. Tuesday, though, you have core inflation rate month over month, year over year. They're expecting a decrease in both. Then you have headline inflation rate month over month, year over year. So Tuesday is the big day right there. 10-year note auction going on at 1 that day. Wednesday, a lot of mortgage and oil data, but really nothing else. But there is a 30-year bond auction at 1 o'clock as well. Thursday, a lot of jobless data, a lot of core PPI, month over month, year over year, as you can see. So that's going to be interesting, and that will absolutely affect the market for sure. Retail sales, month over month, year over year. Then we scroll down to Friday, and that's basically just going to end up with a lot of industrial and manufacturing data. We'll see if the market wants to be affected by that. Michigan consumer sentiment. So nothing too crazy on Friday, but the inflation data, we know if it comes in, even within norm or below, the market is going to soar. And if it comes in higher than expected, then guess what? You know, and so the market could sell off money just for that. So we've seen that how many times now where it'll sell off, setting up, and then just explode on the data. And usually what's happening is Monday and Tuesday's week, and then it's been Wednesday, Thursday, and usually Friday, which last Friday started off green, because Fridays have been green and like 93% of the time. And so we thought we were going to get that last Friday, but then it reversed at 10:30. But usually that's kind of been the playbook right now. And so we've seen this music before. And so if we get a weak Monday, it seems like it's just a setup going into the inflation data. So let me know how you think that's going to play out and stuff. And there's no earnings that are going to really affect the market. There's going to be some high flyers for sure next week. Some stocks moving between 10, 20% once they report, but we'll see if they can hold those earnings. So hope you got something out of it, guys. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you did on your way out. I really appreciate it. Glad we moved the clocks forward an hour. So now we'll get more daylight. I'm actually really happy about that. Let me know if you are. So have a good one, and I'll see you tomorrow.